Okay, good evening, heads of institutions, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here to share with you a bit about how we assess an application, and hopefully it will provide you with some insights on how to write a grant proposal that has a higher chance of success. So basically, as you know, the target of these three research schemes are here to build up research capacity at the level of the institutions in terms of also helping our colleagues stay abreast of the latest developments and advancements, inter-institutional collaboration, and also at the level of the individual academic. So the aim is really to look at research so that we can help the whole sector come to produce academic contributions, educational contributions, scientific contributions, professional advancements, achieve a higher academic attainment, etc. So we actually emphasize a lot on the merit of the proposal in achieving that goal, coming up with all those contributions that I mentioned. So in that sense, RGC actually adopts a very rigorous peer review mechanism to assess the proposal. I'm very glad that we have two excellent talks preceding mine, because there you see that it's no secret that we place the highest emphasis on the academic merit of the proposal. And alongside with it, of course, we look at the institutional commitment, the institution providing the research infrastructure, the space, etc., to support that research. And we talked about the contributions. And of course, there's some indication if there's non-RGC funding from other sources, that will be taken into consideration. But that may not be a major concern. It probably is an indication that there are other parties who think that the project being proposed is of value. That's why you have other funding sources supporting it. But we actually look at the proposal, we look at the key idea of the proposal, and we base it on merit, okay? What the reviewers think is original, valuable about the research idea. So just to elaborate a little bit more on academic quality and merit, we talk about the scientific quality merit. So what is the problem that you're solving? Why is it important? Just now, Professor, you elaborated on that a lot. What's new and exciting? Have other people done it before? So what are you doing that's different? What are some new features that you are offering that other people in previous work do not? Right? So all this contributes to the scientific merit. I mean, when people read a proposal, and if you're able to make that very explicit and very clear, people appreciate your idea. I mean, especially your reviewers. They appreciate your idea immediately. And the first impression is very important. Just, the punchline, talk about where your proposals stand in terms of scholarly merit and scientific merit. And of course, after you've done that, then the reviewers would like to look at why you, why you as the proposer, why you are in the best position to tackle this research problem. And along that line, they look at your track record. So whether you have done similar research in the past, it may not be exactly the same problem, but it may be an approach that you're taking that has not been applied to the problem that you're trying to solve now, but you have taken a similar approach in another domain or context before, and so you have gained some experience with that methodology, and the innovation now is that you have leveraged that experience from your past, from your previous work or any publications that show your track record. You're leveraging that experience into the current problem. So that goes towards the track record. And of course, I've already alluded to originality. So what's new, what's different? You do not want to reinvent the wheel. So the due diligence is you need to read a lot of papers, and hopefully not only the older papers, but also, like Professor, you mentioned, the more contemporary papers. So you know the latest and greatest in your field, or in the field that is where your problem belongs. Okay, so you need to be very well informed with all the approaches to that research problem that you're undertaking, and then you have to be very clear about what you're offering now, what's new in your proposal. So with all that, the reviewers, of course, will say, well, is it really doable? Is it feasible within the time frame? Is it feasible within the budget that you have presented, with power, other resources, the equipment, et cetera? Is it doable? Do you think that this PI, as a reviewer, we look at, do you think that this PI is able, principal investigator, can undertake this research within the scope that you have defined in your proposal with these resources in terms of funding and in terms of time, right? So that all comes together in terms of looking at the feasibility of your problem. So the peer review process. So basically, this is a very rigorous process. We involve a lot of international reviewers, and in fact, it's very important for Hong Kong, the proposals that you submit, because it gets sent out to reviewers all around. And so it's not just a funding and evaluation process, it also serves to show others how Hong Kong's research stands, how we benchmark with the rest of the world, right? Because many of us as academics, we not only review proposals from our local region, but also from other countries. So by and large, you have a sense of where different regions stand and what is the standard of the research across different regions. Now, research ethics. So we can't underemphasize the importance of research ethics. Now, RGC has minimal tolerance on non-disclosure. So here we talk about double dipping. So you have to be very careful because we don't want to see a proposal where it seems to be doubly funded. It's almost like you are doing a piece of homework and you're submitting your homework to two different courses, right? So we don't want to see that because the funding of IDS, IDS, FDS, they go to support this project. So whatever is the outcome of this research effort comes towards the deliverable of this project. And we do not want to see the deliverable coming from another funded project or a previously funded project, etc. So that's what we mean by double dipping. In terms of conflict of interest, we need to ensure that all the relationships with any reviewers that you propose with possible perceived conflict of interest or with similar or related projects or proposals that you also are undertaking, all this information need to be fully declared. So in fact, the RGC staff is, I must say, extremely professional. They're very meticulous in checking for these, for the fairness of the exercise. I mean, it's amazing, how careful they are. I think this is really to their merit because it all contributes to what's the just use of the funding of RGC for all these schemes. So therefore, if you have the choice, you must choose to over-declare rather than under-declare. Okay, so if you say, oh, I'm trying to propose these reviewers and I'm not sure if I have declared all my relationships, well, try to declare all the relationships that you think matter. And sometimes I feel if there's someone that you want to propose as a reviewer, but you think it's too complicated, because the relationships there are too many relationships to declare. You may want to think of proposing another reviewer, for example, okay? But definitely declare everything. And plagiarism, this includes self-plagiarism. So whether the current proposal that you submitted is too similar to another proposal or too similar to a previous paper, all this needs to be considered. Okay, so you need to ensure that if there is similarity, you also write it out in the form, because there's a place where it asks you whether this project is similar to other projects, and just to cover your bases, right? So if you see that there's some similarity, or you think that a reviewer, an external reviewer, would suspect that maybe it's too similar, then you cover your bases, you talk about the similarity, but you also talk about what's different. What's different in your current submission. So you're not double dipping, etc. Basically, if you want to present a new problem, you need to make sure you are bringing forward what's different from what you have done in the past. And therefore, avoid self-plagiarism. Fraud, mishandling of research participants. We must observe all the relevant rules and regulations when preparing the proposal. There are certain approval and advice from relevant committees, such as human ethics, animal ethics, these approval processes that we need to go through before the proposal is submitted. Or you can say that the approval is being, I think there is a place in the template that allows you to do that. Or the approval will be obtained when the proposal is funded. These are things that you can present when it is only a submission. In terms of rating, it is a 5-point scale, and 5 is, of course, the best. It's the full mark, and it's definitely it's the level of excellence which means that the proposal will definitely be funded. And just empirically, based on past experience, 4 is actually pretty good. 4 is very good, and based on past experience, we have the projects that we've funded have pretty much been around 4-. So it's like on the high 3s, 3 point something. So this is just to give you a sense of where we're at in terms of rating. I think some may have asked about success rate. We actually look at the rating. We look at the ratings that are given by those who review the proposal. So if you ask about the rating process, essentially, for the peer review process, the proposal will first be reviewed by external reviewers. Now, it is very important for you to declare the right area. The primary area and the secondary area is very important to declare the right areas, because RGC has a very rich database of reviewers from all around the world, including both local and international. And for reviewers who are in that area, the review process will choose appropriate reviewers for every proposal. And so this is where the reviewers go through the proposals, and there are readers that are assigned by the assessment panel to actually examine the proposal based on the comments given by the external reviewers. Okay, so there are the reviewers, which comes from all around, and then there are the readers that are assigned by the assessment panel. Okay, so the readers look at the reviewers' comments, and then after that, every proposal is discussed at the panel meeting. So there is a face-to-face meeting, the assessment panel face-to-face meeting, that comes out with the final funding recommendation, and the recommendation, of course, will be subsequently considered and approved by RGC. So it's a multi-step process, and this is the process, and it's a rigorous process that we follow, and that leads to the outcome of the funding. Now, in terms of feedback, as a matter of policy, RGC will provide the comments of the external reviewers to the applicants, and where necessary, also convey additional comments from the subject panels. Okay, so sometimes if you have previously submitted a proposal and you've gotten feedback, and maybe that proposal was not funded that round, try to look carefully through the feedback and also consider addressing that feedback, because a lot of people have contributed to what's giving comments also through this feedback process, and try to address them, and they will actually help to improve your proposal. And you can think about addressing the concerns and improving your proposal and resubmitting it in the next round. So that's a possibility. And of course, make sure you build a good track record with RGC by submitting quality proposals, by effective management of projects. So for the funded projects, we have visits, we have progress reports, etc. So we want to look for effective management of the projects, meeting the deadlines, and make sure that there are no malpractice or unethical activities. Because the previous performance of the PI, the principal investigator, is one of the aspects to be considered during the assessment. So make sure that you maintain a good track record. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Wishing you all a very successful new exercise coming year. Thank you.